Hello, welcome and Khambagani. This is Junior Super Royal Aman Agarwal. I welcome you to the Royals Fan TV. And today we have with us our very own Super Royal Sanchit Desai. And today we are gonna discuss among ourselves that what were the negatives and the positives for Rajasthan Royals in the second leg of IPL. So to start off, Sanchit Bhaiya, so you can start, like, first of all, what were those negative points which led us to the seventh position?
Yeah, firstly, Aman, thank you for inviting me on the show. And it's really good that you have begun at such a young age being the host of Royals Fan TV. So it's really good that you are doing this from a young age and really happy for you and all the best for your journey. So looking forward to see you on lots of shows like this. And coming back to your questions, yes, there were lots of negatives more than positives for us in this season yet again. But fairly, let's say that we didn't have a squad that we wished we would have wanted, because we'll have lots of players who were injured at the start of the tournament. So Ben Stokes, he just played one match and then he got off injured. Liam Livingston wasn't available in the first half, I guess. Then Jofra Archer was obviously ruled out of the entire tournament. And then Josh Butler, who scored a brilliant 100 against Sunrisers Hyderabad before that break, he was ruled out of the second half. So this team actually was unlucky in terms of having their main players being unavailable. So I think that was the reason why we had such a downfall. But I think we did pretty well to manage that gap, because there were lots of people who said that Royals will not actually compete because they are over dependent on one or two players. But I think we did pretty well in the second half of the season, except the last two games where we got bundled out below 100. I think that was disappointing. But apart from that, I think we did pretty good. So if you ask me, the negative points, I'll just say unavailability of players, the bowling being inconsistent, and also our middle order, Indian middle order. I think these three were the reason, these 3 points were the reason why we didn't have a good season.
For sure, like, as you mentioned, the point, we were missing out on our key overseas players, and that's actually, the pillar for RR, which we were missing out on. So we didn't have. And talking about the weakness from my point of view, so first of all, definitely it was the missing of the key overseas players. And also, like, the replacements that we got in the form of Oshane Thomas, Tabraiz Shamsi, Glenn Phillips, and Evan Lewis. So some of the players like Glenn Phillips, Liam Livingstone, like, they looked in a fiery form before the IPL. They were looking in quite good form, but in the IPL, I don't think so they made it up to the mark. According to their reputation, we saw Liam hitting amazing sixes for the Birmingham Phoenix in the league, and Glenn Phillips also delivering so much to the Barbados Royals, another franchise of the Royals. So delivering for the team, but not for RR so much. Like, more was expected from them. And also, another problem for us was the Indian middle order not delivering. We saw Rian, Tewatia, they couldn't make it up to the mark, because middle order is the pillar of the innings, of the batting innings. The openers gave us a good start, definitely. Sanju, he anchored the inning, but the middle order was facing some issues out there. So that's one. And also, this the frequent injuries. Like, we had Chris Morris in the first match. In the second match, Evan Lewis and Chris Morris, they were, injured. Then also Karthik Tyagi, he bowled a magnificent, historic over, as you can say, in the first match. But in the second match, he too, I believe, was unavailable because due to some injuries. So yeah, we missed out on a lot of things which caused us to the seventh position. And so, Sanchit, now we can start with the positives. The positives we got out of this second leg, the way we fought. So you can start.
Well, yes, Aman, I think you summed it up pretty well about the negatives of our season. I think we all expected the replacement players who were in such good form to fire for Royals, at least in the IPL, but unfortunately that wasn't to be. But if you look at the positives from this second half of the season, I would say is mainly about the rise of 𝗖𝗍𝗻 Jaiswal at the top of the order. I mean, it is really like, it feels like a year ago when we when we see a young Yashasvi Jaiswal coming into the team and pretty nervous at the top of the order. We saw him getting 1 or 2 games last season, but then being dropped for Robin Uthappa right at the end of the season. And even at the start of this season, we saw Manan Vora playing the first few matches, and then you saw Yashasvi Jaiswal coming into the lineup. So it has been a pretty rocky start for Yashasvi Jaiswal in terms of having a career at Rajasthan Royals, but I think it delivered really, really well when he cemented his position at the top of the order. And that opening partnership, Evan Lewis and Yashasvi Jaiswal, I think that has to be the biggest positive for Rajasthan Royals from this season, because we all wanted someone to replace Josh Butler at the top of the order. And we were worried that if there is no Josh Butler, what will happen to our batting? Will our batting provide us those explosive start or not? But I think Evan Lewis and Yashasvi Jaiswal showed exactly what they were capable of. So really, that was one positive. Second positive, I think it has to be the form of our skipper, Sanju Samson. He led the team from the front with the bat and had a wonderful season with the bat. Except the last few matches, I think it's okay because he still had a great season, scoring more than 350 runs in an IPL season at a good strike rate of around 130. I think it's really commendable. So that was really good as well to see Sanju Samson back to scoring runs after that disappointing Sri Lanka series. And the other positive has to be the underrated bowler in terms of me. I know that we talked about Kartik Tyagi, we talked about his last over, but there is one player we always fail to recognize, and that is the Fizz, Mustafizur Rahman. I think he was so good with the ball for us, and always he was like the most unluckiest player in terms of not getting the recognition, because I think even in the losses that we had against RCB, against SRH, I think Fizz was the bowler who was the most economical and created lots of danger points for the batting order, even in the losses. So I think Fizz was our best bowler in terms of the second half of the season, and really that was really a good thing to watch out for. Third, and the most important positive that I would take away from the season, is that our Indian core actually stepped up in the wins that we had in this season. So if you talk about the win against Punjab, you see the likes of Mahipal Lomror and Kartik Tyagi delivering the win for us. And if you talk about the win against Chennai Super Kings, when we chased down 190 in about 17 or 18 overs, you saw Shivam Dubey, Yashasvi Jaiswal, all these players scoring the runs and taking us through. So for a team that is known as a team that depends too much on overseas talent, I think we did pretty well with our inexperienced Indian core. So these are the three important positives that I would take away from this season.
Absolutely, absolutely. All the 3 points you explained were, spot on. Absolutely. Sanju, scoring those runs, and our Indians, doing absolutely well. So, yeah. And the positives from my side would be Sanju's C and C, which is Sanju's captaincy and consistency. So, people have talked a lot about Sanju's consistency, like he has that ability, he has that power, such a good player, just not consistency. The thing has been repeated over the times, but now that Sanju gets his big stage, it's never easy to, as he said in his speech after the match, after the last match. So it's never easy to captain a IPL team, and that too at the age of 26, with absolutely very less experience of captaincy. And I think he did like spot on, what captaincy, brilliant captaincy we saw against the Punjab Kings. He shouts there at Sakaria like, yaar abhi khatam nahi hua, the match is still not end. So that's so, the power, the energy could be seen in his eyes. So yeah, Sanju was a great positive. And the Indian young guns, like both in bowling and batting, as you mentioned, in bowling also we got to see Tyagi and Sakaria delivering so well for the team. Also at the top order, Mahipal, Shivam, everybody delivering. So, and absolutely Yashasvi, he was the star of the game. So, he almost completed his half century before the power play ends. So that was so amazing to see his fearless attitude towards the bowlers. So yeah, definitely. And the opening partnership, as you mentioned, Evan Lewis and Yashasvi Jaiswal, that was so amazing. Like in the power play, the start they gave against the Chennai Super Kings, the fearless attitude, it was spot spot on. It was absolutely brilliant. And the main the main positive we can take over is here from here is that the fighting attitude from the whole team. No, they gave their best. No matter they win, they lose, they gave their best. They made sure that yes, we are the royals and we need to play like royals. Obviously the decision was not at our end. The we kept on fighting, but we lost. But the attitude from all the boys was spot on. Like, they know the situation of the royals now. We are missing on our key overseas players or whatever, so but they made sure they gave their best. Rian also, after not so good batting and bowling, um, so he can, sorry, I'm missing out on words. So after not such a good performance in batting and bowling, so the fielding against Virat Kohli, the run out, he was around so far from the pitch, whereas he just hit the ball. He had that attitude in him that yes, I can do this, I have to believe in my abilities, and he did that. So I believe, yeah, that was another. And also our fielding, Mustafizur with that amazing save, that six that he saved, and as I mentioned, Rian. So also our fielding was a great positive. So yeah, these were the positives. And thank you, Sanchit, for joining us. And this was all for the Royals Fan TV video. And don't forget to like, share, and comment. And don't forget to subscribe our channel, Royal Fans TV. And that's all for the evening. Thank you.